Hello, Facebook,
Hello, Facebook.
and welcome to another episode of Marriage Refresh TV.
Welcome.
We hope that you are having a great week so far on this Tuesday. And I know last time we were here, we had a lot of technical difficulties. We think we have put those behind us. We pray we have. We have asked God to definitely put those behind us for us. But yeah, we're just trying to get going and bring to you what we have for you today, and we're excited. We're very excited for what we have today in Marriage Refresh TV. Um, yeah, so last week was awesome. We can't thank the Browns enough
Yes, it was
for all
awesome.
that they did, and I just wish it was less technical glitches. And but they really poured out some wisdom. They stuck with us through it all, and they really just endured and provided some real great wisdom for the people. And so we're just thankful for them and just can't wait to have them on. Already talking with them about being guests next week and seeing if they have a topic they want to cover, or not next week, next month. Seeing if they have a topic they want to cover. We are already working on putting next week's show together. We had to bump marriage and business back 1 week because we want to try and get all our pieces together, and I feel like that's going to probably be a multi-episode show because we want to make sure you have everything that you need to be successful in your marriage. And so we're going to definitely try and talk about some estate planning, some budgeting, all of that. But we're working on it. We have one last piece I think we have to work on in our show, guys, and that's getting our lighting just right.
Yes.
But we are working on it, and we thank you. And you're getting to see Marriage Refresh TV in progress.
In the making.
In the making. And so, honey, you have on a shirt that I guess you're sporting, and
Yeah,
she's
I
trying to
just
mess
wanna
up the camera and all of that. And
really so put all my business out in the streets. Thank you,
arguing with the
Tremaine.
director. And
I just want to represent really quick. See my T-shirt. God is dope.
yeah, God is dope. Where did you come across that at?
In Atlanta, they're out of Atlanta, and I've been wanting to support them for a good little while. So I finally got the chance to order the T-shirt. I did it. I received it. I'm wearing it. I'm rocking it. I did want a blue one. They were out of the blue, so I had to go with
Um,
the next best thing, which is the black and white. You can always
oh yeah, you
rock
can't.
the black and
You
white.
can't beat a classic black and white. You can't.
But before we move on, I also want to say we thank our guest that didn't get to come on last week, our friend, our sister, Miss April. Thank you for your patience and your understanding with all the difficulties we did
Yes.
have going on. So we are going to get that rescheduled so you guys get to, so we'll finish that series and hear out what she was going to say on that night as well. So thank you for just being understanding.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, and I'm gonna tell you, even before we get into Marriage Refresh TV, there are so many shows, if you will, that are coming from local talent, and I'm just praying that God will begin to blossom that. I don't know what color county TV, whatever, that God will begin to blossom that and just really grow that into this its own little network, so to say.
That's what I
You
think.
have, Marriage Refresh TV is coming to you on Tuesday nights. On Thursday night, you got to check out my girl Yolanda Simone on Let's Talk About It SLR. Well, SLR stands for Sex, Love, and Relationships. She had a great episode. If you can go back and catch it on Instagram, about female masculinity is an interesting spin on that terminology, and so we that was really nice. And then on Sundays at 3 o'clock, you can catch Sister Talk 2020, and I look at, I don't know what the 2020 is because it's the 2020 year, but I look at it as sisters talking and having 2020 vision.
Me too. That's the same
Yeah,
translation I got.
there it
Look
is.
at
Sisters
that.
talking and having 2020 revelation or vision. And so that's just three of them. And then, you also, I forget what night they come on. I wish I could remember, but you have Farrah and Rose talks with Rose and Fat with Farrell Donald.
Donaldson.
Donaldson and his wife Rose, and they have some just entertaining topics and good stuff. Last week we were talking about the best burgers, the best fries, whatever, good things. So I'm telling you, just a lot of awesome stuff that you can catch on various mediums, various platforms. People you know, people you may not know if you're watching us from afar, but we want to support all of those. And so we're looking at the various Instagrams. There's Daring Dialogues with Pastor Shante Charles. That's throughout the day. You want to check her out. You have Growspirational by Dr. Janet Clary. You want to check her out. That comes on during the day. We're going to try and get all of these lineups and make sure that we keep you tuned in and what those shows are about, because they're all feeding different angles, different things. So
I say food for the soul, and we love supporting others.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tonight on Marriage Refresh TV, we want to get to our topic tonight, which is crowded. Is there room for you in your marriage? And I really hope that you'll tune in to the very end. We have some great information, some great dialogue. A couple of Ask Marriage Refresh questions that are intriguing and good that I think fits right along with the topic. Remember, if you want to get your question on the air, you can email us at information@marriagerefresh.net and just put in the subject line Ask Marriage Refresh and put your question, and we'll get your question on the air. We will not reveal who you are, even if we know who you are. On top of that, you can also hit us up on Facebook Messenger from our page. There's so many ways you can get in touch with us, and just whatever you do, if you have a question, even on one of our posts, just put hashtag Ask Marriage Refresh, and we'll know that that's a question you want to get on the air, and we will make sure that happens. But our episode tonight, crowded. Is there room for you in your marriage? And so, is it? I'm gonna confess where some of this topic came from, aside from other conversations I was having.
I think I know where this is going.
You know what, Facebook? Just when I get to the house, I'm gonna just take a picture of our closet.
But no, he's not.
And I'm gonna show you my little space, and then my wife's big space. My little space. And then while we was walking yesterday, she wanted to talk about hijacking my shoe rack.
A girl needs a place to put her shoes.
She got. Watch when you see the picture. Watch when you see the picture.
There will be no picture.
Watch when you see the picture. I already got it. I'm gonna have the director to send it out while we on air, so she can't stop it. No, but the thing about it is even though that's the comical part about it, but it got me to thinking about just the room we create. Even in our spare room, there's not much room for other people's stuff, because my wife is in 2-3 closets throughout the house or what have you. But yeah, I think she might have some. She got some stuff in your closet, Shay? No? Yeah? Yeah, probably so. Okay. But y'all share the shoes or something, but they really hurt. But anyway, I'm teasing. So, crowded, is there room for you in your marriage? But it got me to thinking about how over time we accumulate stuff. And even in marriage, we accumulate things. We accumulate feelings and emotions, wounds, and good stuff and bad stuff. And over time, I think some crowding can begin to happen in the marriage. And so I felt like it's a good topic, because I'd also had a couple of conversations, mostly with guys, maybe one or two with, mostly with guys, about that crowded, because I don't think y'all feel crowded. But we're going to kick off with y'all. And so it might be a short segment, but I don't know if y'all feel crowded.
No, we can kick off with you, because it's going to be a short segment.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, I want to feed off of
No,
you.
No, ma'am.
You're right. We really don't. I guess probably in the same way, we don't feel that.
Well, that's good, because segment 1, yes, ma'am. Let's go ahead. Let's get it. Come on.
Yeah, it says crowding her out.
Crowding her out. What is taking up space from your wife? And there's a funny little cartoon on here. Oh my goodness, I think I may have went back too far. Let me go. Oh yeah, there we go. Come on. All right. So, crowding her out is what is it? What is taking up space from your wife? And so there's a funny little cartoon here that says there's this husband. He's sitting in the bed with his iPad, and his wife appears to be dressed in some lingerie. And the caption is "Touch anywhere to begin." And so this is all about touch anywhere to begin. And so this is all about what makes a woman feel crowded out of her marriage. So actually, is segment one is about you, and I'll just sit over here and take it in. Yes, ma'am.
So being crowded is to feel like I guess you either have too many things or people in your life going on that would make me feel crowded. To me, just not being intentional about the attention that I would need, feeling that I'm not a part of what's going on overall, general. Not that I have to be a part of every little thing you do or your business or your time. That's yours, but having balance.
Mm.
And then I think to make you feel or reverse the feeling crowded, I would have to set boundaries. Or we both would have to set boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good thing to do up front. Be like, hey, this is what would make me feel crowded in the relationship and marriage. And of course, over time, things change. So always coming back to that conversation to as we grow, as we change, as people or individuals, and just let you know. But pretty much just having too much other stuff going on and kind of leaving me over on the side. Or this picture is perfect. Like being on this iPad, social media, whatever it is. I know you like to do different things, but coming back to be like, hey, I gotta be disciplined enough to put this down because my wife needs my attention. And not only your wife, if you have children, your children, again, balance.
Okay. That's it.
As I think so right now.
So
I could change my mind though.
I'm sure you will. But that's from a perspective for you as a woman of what can make you feel crowded in terms of your husband or, in terms of me. What do you think are some other things that make women maybe feel crowded out of their marriage or out of their home?
Out of their home, I don't necessarily know, because when you think about the home for women, we just we make the house a home. So for us, I think we're putting that time and energy into doing that. And I guess you would have to come to tell us what would make you feel crowded if I try to take control over making the house a home so much that I'm not including you. Or if your space isn't my space, but making room. Making room.
Making room. Okay.
Yeah, for you, your things, what you like, your dislikes, just overall listening, engaging.
Okay. Okay. So that's a women's perspective. You good? You reserve the right to change your mind. That's what she told us.
Or add.
So we definitely I'm gonna hit it up for segment 2 here, which is crowding him out and what is taking up space from your husband. And we have kind of the reverse. A man is frustrated in the back, and he is his wife is on her phone. And actually, I captured this interesting. I got this particular picture from an article that said, what it's like being married to an Instagram star. So someone who's on Instagram. And so this was a very interesting picture in what it was tied to, the backstory of the picture. So what crowds him out? So
yes, what crowds?
Yeah, what crowds him out? So let me talk about, for men, what crowding us out kind of looks like. Then I'll talk about maybe what it feels like. So I think that crowding out for men is more when he doesn't feel a priority at all in the house, that there's no room for him in the house. And a lot of times that begins with the birth of children.
Okay.
It begins with the birth of children, because if there were no kids at first and it was just the two of you and then a child comes along, and it's not that men do not understand that a child, an infant, needs attention, but then there almost becomes a zero. You sit on the sideline
Mm-hmm.
as a husband until the kids get grown. And then if they're, depending on when they
Grown.
get grown, yeah, because a
Right.
lot of times for men, particularly, usually not that we as men don't sign our kids up for activities and sports and all of that type of stuff, but mom's gonna definitely try and make sure kids involved in all this stuff. So then you become Uber drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they're grown, you become Uber drivers. But then you become these Uber drivers with regard to walking around or
I think
supporting the
that was a
kids.
little bit of shade, but
No, there
keep
was no
going. I
shade there.
digress.
Why are you trying to start stuff? You trying to start mess. See, that me and my director good. Yeah, me and my director good. So, but we feel crowded out because then it's going. And I've had the opportunity to talk to, different older people that, are empty nesters. And
Mm-hmm.
they talk to me about having to try and find that reconnection with each
Mm-hmm.
other, because husbands just get used to being crowded out, and then all of a sudden, when there's no grandchildren, because the second crowding out happens when the grandchildren coming along for a husband. But then all of a sudden, he's been gotten used to or adapted to doing his own thing,
Mm-hmm.
and so all of a sudden, when she has nothing else to do, or the girlfriends aren't available, whatever, then it's
Right.
like, hey, incorporate me back. I'm ready to incorporate you back in my life. And you're like, nah, I'm cool.
Right.
I'm good. I'm good where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that for men is when we first start to feel crowded out,
Okay.
is around the children aspect. But I think the other part of where we start to feel crowded out as you kind of go along is another place that men can feel crowded out. And I think this actually happens for men and for women, is in-laws.
Okay.
When in-laws are overly involved in your home, and then you feel crowded out, whether
Mm-hmm.
that's for the husband or for the wife.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times that can happen more with the husband,
Right.
where her parents kind of crowd him out, and he feel like this, that, and the other, and that's another area I think that men feel crowded out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then there's the because you talk about the making the house a home type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the space within the home of just sometimes trying to carve out your little niche. That's why, and I think this one actually cuts both ways too, because that's where men have started to get their man cave and that place of solitude, a place that's uniquely theirs, has their scent. It's my spot.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the wife want to come and frilly it up. And it's like, no, it's a man cave. It's supposed to look like this. Like, no, let's do this. No, I didn't ask you. This is the one room I get to decorate or whatever, right? So
Right.
you get that aspect of it. But I also think that's why she sheds are somewhat becoming popular, of
Mm-hmm.
having that space where that's outside of the home that I get to decorate.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Arts and
and
crafts, sewing, and
yeah,
whatever.
you gonna start somewhere?
Probably not.
Yeah, yeah. I was wondering. Holding out hope you were gonna teach us all start a sewing circle at the house or something.
No.
No,
No.
okay,
I mean, I might do a little bit, play with it, sewing, but no.
okay,
That's
okay.
that's not
Yeah.
me.
So crowding, when he feels crowded out, I think that's too for men. We're hunter gatherers,
Mm-hmm.
where they start hunting. And that's not even, and I'm not talking about hunting necessarily in the sense of searching for another woman or something,
Right.
but you're looking for a place to kind of call your own where you feel like a part of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I think we as men get isolated in
Mm-hmm.
the home. And let me say this, we're not saying that it's intentional,
Right.
but it
I get it.
happens.
It does.
Yeah. So that's kind of the crowding him out
Mm-hmm.
aspect of it. Make sense?
It does. No, I'm just thinking because we do a lot of times we like, hey, this is the space. This is what I'm gonna do. Decorate this and that. Here's your spot in the room. You stay here, and then let us, take care of all of this and have that spot or this space,
Yeah.
Without making more room or equal room
Yeah. Yeah.
for you.
Exactly.
So, yes.
Yeah. That happens. That happens. Any more on this before we go to our next segment?
No, I'll just try to do better, honey.
You ain't got to.
No.
You ain't got to. Don't worry. When stuff starts showing up for my man cave, don't worry. Yeah, like a whole man cave might show up, like a whole man cave, like shed in the backyard where that came from.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
Uh-uh. Talking is over. Man cave, him want man cave. No. Okay,
You're moving on.
moving on. So, continuing with this crowding out, I want to hit this last theme. Because we are sanctified and holy and all of that good stuff. We don't want to use no words. So, for some reason, my thing is messing up. Come on. Let's go back. Let's go back. All right. Okay. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on messing with technical difficulties because that's what's happening right now. And the Satan, the Lord rebuke you. We're not doing it. So this is what we're going to do. So we're going to just keep going. And we're going to see what we got. And we're going to stop. We're going to pull this up again. Here we go. All right. So we're going to play from here. Yeah. So this last one that we have is forget them kids. It don't want to show on the screen, but forget them kids. Are your family priorities out of balance? I think this is another area like we hit up about feeling crowded out. That when the kids, and there's a meme that goes around, it uses a different language, but forget them kids. And I think that this is an important one to talk about because as its own separate thing. And the reason I think that it's so important to talk about is because we hear all too often how children in the battle between parents drives marriages apart. And it's as if I read this powerful article and it said the marriage often how families operate is that the marriage was built to serve the children. And it said, but that's not how it's supposed to be. The marriage is there to support the children, but the marriage is for the husband and wife, and the children come along and they're there. There's a lady I used to work with, large family. So when they would travel for their family reunions, they would not all get on the same plane. Because if the whole plane went down, they didn't want the thing. And sadly, we kind of heard something similar to about the Bryants, that they had a similar pact, that they would never travel on the same airplane or helicopter together. They would always be separate, what have you. And so what the reason the dad said that he instituted that rule is obviously to keep the family or whatever, so the mom and the dad were never on the same plane. So if something happened, somebody was still there. So somehow the conversation came up, and I actually used to work with him, and I went and asked him, did you really say that? And he was like, yeah. So what he told his children is, he said before each one of them came in the world, he was like, if there was ever a choice during labor, whether it's your mama or y'all, I was choosing your mama because I ain't know y'all yet. And the mama was like, no, you better bring my baby. He said, nope, I ain't know them yet. We have another one of them. I ain't know them yet. And he was serious about it. And he was like, it was joking, but he was serious. He's like, if I had to choose, I hadn't had a relationship with them yet. It would hurt. It'd be painful.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I know it bothered my wife, but I don't know them yet.
Right.
And so he talked about that. And then when children show up, they kind of get prioritized above the marriage. And we've seen husbands and wives
Yeah.
really just fall apart because of
The kids.
the kids. And so every now and again, you got to say, forget them kids. You got to say it.
Right. I think you have to, for me, everything bring balance to it and give them their time. And priorities are very important.
Yes.
But give them their time, but know when to step away, back away, and give your attention to your spouse.
Right.
In the relationship. And then bring them back, because too much of anything is not good.
Mm-hmm.
So always giving them the attention or what you think they might want versus what they need,
right,
can hurt them more than it can help them, especially because you're trying to raise them to be grown people, to get out one day and be a part of this world. And I understand security, and of course structure and shelter, because a lot of times we like to shelter them, but prepare them for real life and not just for now.
Right.
Yeah, so preparing them for real life. Yeah, because they're not going to always be able to get that attention. A lot of times that's the issue with grown people, still trying to seek or get the attention that they got so much from their parents.
Right.
When they're in a relationship, that they don't know how to. It's like you're too needy.
Right.
Or being very needy of something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it can hurt more than it can help.
Right. Right. Okay. No, I agree. I think that, if you're in a marriage where your children are dominating the marriage and your spouse is, and we're not even talking about blended families.
Right.
We're talking about all the children of your biological children, because with blended families, it even gets worse sometimes. But we're talking about your biological children, that you cannot prioritize the kids above the marriage. But the marriage, when the best environment for the children is when the marriage is operating at its optimal. And then the children actually get to benefit from the fruit of a good marriage. But when you start ruining the marriage by prioritizing the children over the marriage, the children actually end up being wounded because they're not growing up in the best possible environment.
Right.
I do want to caveat this with, I know there are some times that there are other extenuating circumstances. Maybe one of the spouses is an alcoholic or abusive or something like that. We're not talking about the outlier type situations. We're talking about
or maybe the kid is a special needs.
A kid is a special needs. That can be. So we're not talking about the outliers. That's a little bit different. But when we're talking when all things are equal, if you prioritize, and sometimes the way it can flip is, mamas really love everybody, but dads love their daughters, and you get all that, and they love their sons, and they're a little harder on their sons because they're trying to prepare them to be men, and they're a little softer on their daughters, and vice versa. The moms are a little softer on their boys sometimes, and they're a little harder on the daughters, and that just kind of plays out. But being in that situation of where all things being equal, like, we have to come together and do this as a team, and every now and again, you have to safely put the children aside.
Right.
And say, forget them kids.
You're not neglecting them. And then sometimes for us, it's just being mothers and how we're made. Our human nature is to, sometimes that hurts, or to step away, or to say they're fine. Let me do this, or I need to tend to you, or whatever it is that,
Tend to yourself.
Exactly. That too. We have trouble with that sometimes. But self-care, just doing self-care and attending to ourselves. I just think sometimes we feel guilty about it, and we shouldn't. And society maybe
shouldn't feel. Forget them kids every now and again. Right. That's all I'm saying. Because see, you did something that I think is natural for women to do. Because you was like, I have to put them to the side and tend to my husband. No, sometimes you got to put them to the side and tend to you.
Right.
Yeah, that's got to happen. That's got to happen. So
Right. As long as they're okay, they're fed, you know, everything they need is there,
yeah,
then you're good.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. All right, that's it on that part. Let's see if we can move on and get to our next segment, which is Ask Marriage Refresh. Ask Marriage Refresh. We're gonna see what we get here. Yeah, Ask Marriage Refresh ain't want to cooperate either. So, um, let's do this. Here's what I would say. Just going from going from this. Our technology is messing up and we're not going to argue. So we are going to talk about Ask Marriage Refresh. Ask Marriage Refresh. And so, honey, I'm going to let you read the first one that we have tonight and see what we got.
Okay. So the first question is, Dear Marriage Refresh, I'll keep this one short and sweet. For the most part, we have a great marriage, in my opinion, but we have one repeat stinking point. Sticking. I don't need glasses.
Uh,
I'm sorry. We have one repeat sticking point: how to raise our children. I feel our children play on my wife's emotions, and I am often overridden in front of them and behind closed doors. It is enough to make me want to quit. Not on the marriage like divorce or anything, but just stop giving a sincere effort when things are going great. She is a super mom, but when things don't go how she expects it, then I'm part of the cleanup crew. How can we find balance in leading our family? Sign, I just live here.
okay. You want to start? Or you need your glasses? You want us to get your glasses?
No, go ahead. I just think my screen needs cleaning off. Is what it is.
That's what it is.
It is.
That's what it is. Okay. Your screen need clean. So there's a couple of things in this email that I think we have to explore or look at. And so he talks about for the most part that things are great. But the children seem to be that sticking point, just like we left in the last segment about forgetting them kids. And so when he talks about that, the cleanup crew is the part that gets me. So I've heard that from fathers who feel like they give instruction to the kids and mom kind of overrides it over and over. And then when it finally goes the way the father is like, this is how it's going to happen if you keep down this path, then it's like, hey, come in and clean up this mess. Can you get everything back on track?
Right.
And you want to do it the first couple of times.
You need to get him or her and tell them, and you give out the punishment.
Yeah, give out the punishment and play the bad guy. And you do that for a while, and then after a while it just becomes, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. No, you keep not listening to me up front, so you deal with the consequence on the back end. And that's a difficult spot as a father to be in. And just, even some of our own personal story, particularly, just thinking about one of the, I think with our oldest son, because his, obviously his mom wasn't in the house with us, and wasn't sister wives around here. So,
No.
but the thing that I think sometimes I felt like if I could go back and do things different, sometimes I allowed my house to almost be like the prison. You've done something wrong. You're going to your dad this weekend. You've done something wrong. He's going to punish you. And I kind of played into that role, which I think probably had its own ramifications for me doing that. And by the time I stopped doing it, some damage I think was done in terms of that. But that happens even within the home. Right. That dad is always the hard one, the heavy one, playing the heavy. And then all of a sudden, dad is the enemy. And mom gets to be the good guy because mom gives us whatever we want. As long as we make mom happy, we get whatever we want. And then when dad says, stop giving it to him, stop giving it to him, and then finally it plays out, then it's like dad's the bad guy. He never wants to. I can remember something.
Okay.
I can remember something, and our director may not remember this,
Perfect.
but I can remember as vivid as yesterday. I think one of the things I'm cursed with is a long memory. I don't know why God gives it to me, but I just have a long memory. Maybe I just got to learn how to use it right. But we were standing in the kitchen. I forget something you was telling Deshay to do
Hmm.
or something, and then I think I got on her or something, like backing you up a little bit. And but she didn't hear that you were asking me to do it, even though she was right there. But I remember her saying something. She's like, "Why Dad always got to control everything?" I remember it. She said it. So yeah. So, and I said, "What?" And so we had a conversation about it. Is hilarious to me, but that's how she saw it.
Hmm.
Dad is controlling everything. Well, Dad's just the enforcer, so to say, and it wasn't something you were doing intentionally, making me an enforcer. I'm just trying to stand in.
Right.
But to her,
Hmm.
at her young age, she saw it as Dad controlling everything. And Dad is trying to be this protector. He's also trying to be the enforcer. It's a different type of relationship and a balance. But I think it also, me and Shay have a different type of relationship when she gets in her pouty mood or is having a moment or whatever. You know, I can go in, I give her a minute, and then I just go sit at the foot of her bed and me and her just chit chat, you
Hmm.
know. And we have our conversations or whatever. But I think that, you know, in her young age, that's how she saw it.
Hmm.
But I think that sometimes mothers absolutely play that up. I'm not saying it doesn't go the other way,
Right.
but I think I've heard more from men
Hmm.
than I've heard from women about it kind of playing out like that.
I don't disagree.
You don't disagree? Uh oh. Okay. She didn't
I
disagree.
don't disagree because sometimes for us it's the emotion of it, so
Mm-hmm.
you can get caught up in that part of it. But I think it's very important that you try your best to be on the same page when it comes to those kind of things,
Right.
and then the kids know, because they can manipulate too a lot of times, or know who's to solve for the easy, or who might
Right.
say yes before, which parent is going to say yes, which one is going to say no,
Yeah. I
which
don't know.
one might say yes.
Yeah. Who the yes parent, Shay? You know? Who the yes parent?
What?
For anything. Who y'all think y'all gonna get an easier yes out of? Your mama? Uh-huh. DJ, who the yes parent?
I guess I have to be hard.
Yeah, both of the kids say mom is the yes parent. It happens.
Not really.
I don't think it is really, but I do
Okay.
think that if there's gonna be a no, it's probably gonna come from me. And I can remember when Shay first wanted to start kind of spending the night with friends or whatever, and you really wanted to say yes, and I'd already told her I ain't going. Then it's like, well, go ask your daddy, and then I get to be the no person. I get to be the no person. It's like, well, I know, I'm sure it's happened at least once. I ain't going to ask him. I already know what he gonna say. I think I heard that before too. So, at any rate,
Right.
I think that there's a that happens,
It does.
and so the advice I would give is that because the way they signed it is, I'm just living here.
Hmm.
I think that roommate syndrome
Hmm.
is
It
dangerous.
is. I think it has to be addressed because if not, where it says up here where I might not be thinking about divorce or stepping out or doing whatever, at some point, if you keep feeling that way, things are go south or left
Oh
or
yeah, oh yeah, most definitely,
hmm
most definitely. Yeah,
yeah.
that
Even if you don't want it to,
yeah,
because you everybody has a breaking point.
yeah.
So when you get to that point, it's like, what do I do?
Yep, I agree. So we actually had two Ask Marriage Refresh this go around. So we're gonna get into the second one. I found this one intriguing.
Okay.
So go ahead, honey. I don't have my glasses with me. You want me to read it?
Dear Marriage Refresh.
Shay, you want to let your mama borrow your glasses?
No, I'm good, really. We ain't having no sex. Did I get that one right?
Is that what they said? Say
That's
that
what it
again.
says. We ain't having no sex.
All right.
I feel like I'm in a sexless marriage. We have sex 2 to 3 times per month, if I'm lucky. I don't know what the issue is, and he claims there is no one else. I'm about to break. Help. Sign, break me off, please. Alrighty then.
You want to start this one?
You go right ahead.
Why you always?
I thought you was gonna.
Oh,
I read. You start.
no, because when I read, I start.
No,
Yes, I do.
not just then. 'Cause you
Not
didn't
just
read the
then.
first one.
Last week and the week before that and the week before. No. Okay. We are on episode 5. We're working on it. So, let's talk about this. Sexless marriage is typically defined as having sex, I think 3 or 4 or fewer times in a month. And it might be less than that. But that's considered in general a sexless marriage. There's actually a definition for it. This is a big one because what's intriguing about it is usually a lot of times you hear this coming from men, but you hear it coming from a woman. Makes me wonder in general if there's some health issues going on that he's not maybe communicating to her. There's some performance anxiety going on that he's not able to talk to her about. Or there is somebody else and you just got something else going on and you ain't trying to say that. Or there's some other block.
Something maybe I don't know. He just really don't like her.
They married.
Well, I can't say love. That don't mean you like each other. There's a lot of marriages where people love each other, but they don't like each other. Really, I'm sure everybody agrees.
Yeah.
Because you can get to
Yo,
that point.
you can like
Because
each
if you
other.
don't build a good foundation of friendship, you can get to where, hey, I really don't like this person. But I think for men, it's a little different than for women. I don't know what make men not want to have sex besides a health issue or something like that. Because a lot of times men do it and it's not the emotional, because I would say intimacy and things like that, which is very important. But for us, it definitely takes a lot more and all of that for the sex to be more and good. But for men, a lot of times it's fulfilling, I guess, a different need or that need or.
You got that off television?
No.
Okay.
Really?
You sure you ain't get that off television? Because that's true to a certain age for men. That might be true for a certain age of men. But there's a certain age at which, and I think, and I'm going to share this, ladies, so you can get a tip. I would say if your husband is 35 or older, mentally, the act of sex has shifted more or less probably to the emotional aspect for him than the physical. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is around age 30, 33, the testosterone for men starts going down.
Right.
And there is just a mental shift. And if they've been committed long term in a relationship, they also are at a place where it's just different. It's just different. So I think that's one part, but I definitely think that this is one of those marriage refreshes for you in this situation, because I think that this is a time where it's time to get some help, because there's clearly something going on with him to where he's like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this. And it could be because a lot of men don't know that they have low testosterone.
Right.
And if you don't go to the doctor routinely or have your doctor check your testosterone levels, you just don't know that that's what's really hitting you. You're thinking, oh man, I'm just getting older, but actually I'm getting older. I'm starting to hold a little more spare weight around the waist, this and that. But actually, it's part of that is that your testosterone is low.
That and stress. It could be stress. I think
Yep.
stress works both ways for us as well as men. But stress.
Absolutely, stress can be one of those things for real. Yeah. So I just think it's a whole lot that you have to factor in. But I do think if you're listening to this, that it is time to get some
A sex therapist.
I don't know about that. I don't know if we're ready to go to that, Lynn. But it's time to talk to somebody,
Right.
just to kind of try and dig to, or let him talk to somebody. alone and then bring you into it. Realize this might be a him problem and not a you problem, and he may need to just have some conversation there.
Right.
So, all right.
But definitely needing some help, seeking some help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And having a conversation, you have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to talk about it for
and
sure.
be honest about it.
Be honest, because I can tell you, like for men, performance in the bedroom is very, very important. We can't get into that too deep, too much. PG. That's a whole nother conversation. But it is sometimes you just feel. I think women, y'all might believe y'all are the one that have only y'all deal with body image issues, but men at a certain age definitely, not even a certain age, but more so at a certain age, have body image issues too that make them feel unattractive or what have you, and so that can hit them as well.
Right, and I think men have performance issues.
It's not all performance. Performance is a huge impact, but it's not all performance.
Right, but I think sometimes in their mind they think it is more so.
Men do.
Not that it's not important.
Yeah.
But I think the way their perspective on it is a little different. And instead of talking to your spouse,
because y'all don't get it. Y'all don't get it.
We don't get it?
No, I think it's difficult because it's definitely there is something that men get diagnosed with as performance anxiety for sure. And that plays in a lot of stuff. But I think that's difficult to have that conversation with your spouse. It is.
But if it's going to get better, I think you have to have that conversation.
Maybe.
Or he needs to have that conversation outside?
He might need to have that conversation with somebody, but that conversation might not be with you. What?
I don't know if I agree with that.
You don't know if you agree. See, y'all want to be in the know on everything because you just don't know. You don't know. I'm not saying he can't have that conversation with you. Or at some point, but he may have to figure it out first before he can feel comfortable.
Right, because you would want me to have that conversation with you, am I right?
Yeah, but y'all don't talk. Y'all make thy request known, but I see that's a whole nother. We're gonna have a whole nother episode on a different show, and that's gonna be the one where we gonna have to produce it ourselves so we can get raw, a little raw. Yeah. So
the TV, the M maturity.
Yeah. Rated M for mature. Yeah. Rated M for mature. So we definitely will have to do that. Definitely that. Matter of fact, we did sometime ago a series about naked marriage or something, about sex or whatever. People really enjoyed it. We'll have to do that again and really just kind of dig deeper. I think this will be a good topic on there. So, anything else?
Not that I can think of.
All right, so let's get parting shots. But before we get to our parting shots, we want to let you know that Marriage Refresh is here for those who are seeking marriage and want to get educated about marriage. Those who are married and things are going great, you just want to continue to keep it going great. Those who are married and things are going not so great, you want to do some things to work on it and improve some and refresh it. Those that are on the way to divorce and maybe you're thinking, hey, we'll give this one last shot. We're here for you. Those who have been divorced and you're just trying to figure your way back and pick up the pieces. Marriage Refresh for you. I posted a picture last night, kind of infographic. The average marriage, the average wedding cost about $20,000. That's the average. And then the average length of a marriage is about 7 years before separation happens, about 8 years before divorce happens. So you're talking about you hit year 7 and we're going to separate. Then during that time, separate, say, no, we're going to go ahead and get a divorce. So you're talking about the average marriage lasts about 8 years. That's the average. Wow. So if you're above 8 years, you might be in great company, or you've been faking the funk. And you've just been counting years, and you have quantity, but you don't have quality. right? So that's one aspect of it. But then there's the average divorce in the United States is $15,000. The average divorce in
Wow.
so 20,000 to get married, 15,000 to get divorced. That's what is that? 25,000? No, not 25,000. Lord help me. $35,000.
What do we say? 15 and 10.
No, 15 and 20.
15 and 20. I'm sorry.
$35,000, right? So between divorce and marriage, $35,000.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage refresh. One of the things that is an indicator of preventing divorce or help, they found that couples that get pre-marriage education are less likely to divorce because they're equipped with the tools that they need. Growing up in a house, just seeing marriage, even if it was a great marriage,
Mm-hmm.
if your parents were not very transparent with you about the highs and the lows of marriage, that won't do it for you. But if you were in a house where you had parents that were very transparent about marriage, then that may very well be enough to help you. But it has been proven statistically that marriages that undergo premarital education, 100%. Not 100%, have a higher likelihood of lasting because they get equipped with the tools. So I said all that to say this. Marriage Refresh, our pre-marriage education package, we sell it as a package, is $300. The membership, the $300 membership gets you 3 months. Over that 3-month period, here's what we do for you. We have 7 60-minute sessions with you and your potential mate, your whoever you're engaged to. We have 7 60-minute sessions with you. We have 2 45-minute conversation one-on-one with her, where the wife or potential wife gets a chance to talk to Tamika one-on-one. There's 2 sessions individually with me, 45-minute sessions with him, where me and the husband or the fiance get to talk one-on-one. And then there is a certificate of completion. And in most states, if you get that certificate of completion, you usually get a discount on your license. If you purchase all of that individually, that is $540. If you do a pay as you go, it is $540. But if you purchase our pre-marriage education pack together, you can get that for $300. That's our current price. And so that's where we're at with it. But want to let you know that's out there. It is a minimal investment considering on the back end the cost that you're going to pay for the wedding and potentially divorce. So Marriage Refresh is for you.
Right. I was going to say that's a small investment into, I always say, the most important relationship besides your relationship with God in your life to invest in.
Yeah.
So, we'll invest in shoes, clothes, food, and everything else, but you won't invest in your marriage. I was going to say relationship, but your marriage, which is the most important relationship.
Absolutely. So parting shots, honey, I'm going to start with you. Don't you got any parting shots for our audience, our guests today?
Right. My parting shot is to work on not making your mate feel crowded out. Make room for them. Just reevaluate, even if you don't think you are, just to sit down, think about, hey, am I really, ask yourself the question, ask your spouse the question, your mate the question, and to be honest about it and work on making room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your parting shot?
It is.
All right.
Just not taking each other for granted or assuming, that I'm not crowding you out.
Yep. I think for my parting shot is forget them kids. Make sure you take some time for yourself. The marriage functions best when you have 2 whole, joyful individuals that get some time to take for themselves. I can tell you in talking to marriages, I seem like I talk marriage nonstop, and sometimes it's hard for me to just not talk to people about marriage, even if they're not. Yeah, I probably do. You just don't hear it. But my parting shot is that take some time for you. Make sure you're good. Get some routines that are okay for you, that you like to do. That's very, very important. One of the things I like to do and I don't make enough time for it as I used to, is write. You know, I have a book that I've had people asking me, begging me for part two of the Dirty Crown, and they're just asking me for that book part two, and I don't take the time to write. But right now, when I am writing, and I've kind of picked back up my pen, so to say, right now working on our workbook for our pre-marriage education training. And so I'm working on the workbook for that. We're going to work with our director to help us shoot the sessions so that you'll be able to go to the website and download the sessions if you don't want to order and download the sessions if you don't want to do a face-to-face. And so we want to have the workbook in place that accommodates that. And so find some time for you. Make sure that you don't stay gone and separated too long, but find some time for you, and find some time for your marriage outside of the kids, outside of other company, whatever. Find some time for your marriage, and that will be my parting shot.
So go rediscover you, because a lot of times we lose who we are.
Yes,
in the marriage.
100%. That is true. So that is it. That's all we have for this episode. So listen, we're here. If you want to reach out to us, you can hit us up on Marriage Refresh at information@marriagerefresh.net. You can also hit us up at keep up with us at www.marriagerefresh.net. And so until next time, I'm Damon Rich.
I'm Tamika Rich. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.